twin sails,
Oh, I know, yeah, got it now.
come to the T,
Yeah.
do a right, it's on the left, and you get the, they're only sort of bedroom,
I think we might have been turned on. It wasn't. Spraying that one away. La, la, la.
Well, the cats get asked.
Yeah, she's chairing tonight.
Yeah.
What do you mean she'd do a better job of it? Oui.
yeah, why not?
Oh, it's a chair. Oh. Who have you upset? Go on, cat. Doo-doo. Hiya.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
All right. So, hello. How are we? Sun's out. Oh my goodness. Thank you. We're nearly in the 6th month of the year, and it's like, come on, come on. I want to get these shorts out of the dryer. You don't. You really don't want to see me in my shorts, but never mind. So, we're going to have a little talk tonight. Welcome, everybody, for if this is your first time, I haven't been for a while, whatever. The whole point of these evenings is a very informal evening. It's about discussion, it's about debate, it's about talking about things. And with the Spiritual Cafe this night, we touch on topics outside of spiritualism. So we discuss different things that we come across. And one of the things I thought we'd have a chat about is cards and card readings. Anybody not familiar with what a card reading is? You're all pretty... Now, it's funny, you all know what a card reading is,
Yeah,
and yet
I don't, sorry.
you don't.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Is that the same as that medium lady with the little dog? What's her name? We had a complete night here with around the tables.
All right, yep,
You
yeah,
know-
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yep, there were cards used on that night. And the card reading has been around, I was on a quick good old Google today. And they go back to like Mesopotamia, BC. I know, wow, so the cat's impressed. Wow, I never knew that. So they've been around for thousands of years in different guises, different shapes, different layouts. Of course, in today's world, you only have to look in one of the cabinets outside to just get a small idea of how many different types of cards there are. Nature cards, Ascended Masters, and we're now seeing the ingress coming in of extraterrestrial cards and things like that. Basically, anybody who's had an idea has commissioned a pack of cards, which is fine, absolutely fine. But the use of them, now, I do sometimes get a little bit thoughtful when you hear, are you the lady that phoned up?
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. A bit thoughtful about how they are viewed. Number one, in spiritualism, we are dealing with spirit as the third party, as the source of information, inspiration, healing, etc. Cards work on a different label. Do we understand what the difference is between mediumship and psychism? No. Good. So, mediumship, as you become more than familiar with, especially since everything started moving online, where you will have the medium, so that's the interface between the spirit world, relaying information given by the spirit world. Hence, we have the messages, we have the memories of loved ones, we have their message, what they're talking about, and everything coming through. So you're getting that information from a third party. Psychism, now psychism used to be a really dirty word in movement. Go back 20 years, if you said psychic, it was like, people really reacted badly to it. Psychism is reading of the energy of people. So if you allow yourself to, you don't mind me poking around your aura, do you, love?
Not at all.
Oh, that's wonderful. As I'm just linking in with this lady, now I am linking in with this lady, all right? There is no third party. It is purely my energy interacting with this lady's energy, looking for areas that are familiar, areas that we can pick up on. Tell me, my love, do you understand, please, I don't want to say lower back pain, it's a bit too generic, but I want to go around kidneys and issues around there. Eh?
Is that at the back?
Yeah.
Since yesterday.
Right. So nobody's telling me that. I'm just sensing. And the more you sense into somebody's aura, psychism is a really useful tool. It is really useful when it's used properly, and when the practitioner actually goes in depth with what they're doing. All right, we do tend to see, it's not very graceful, we do tend to see what I call pond skimmers, people that hop, and they'll pick a bit of this up, and they'll pick a bit of that up, and they'll pick a bit of that up. So you might get into a little bit of numerology, a little bit of card reading, a little bit of cut ribbon reading, and things like that. But there's no depth in it, which is such a shame, because all those tools of the psychic can be incredibly useful to us. Psychics can be great negotiators because you can't lie to them. It's as simple as that. If you stand there saying a porky to them, they're going, really? Somebody at the door. That wasn't psychic, I saw them. See how good I am there, see? Are you amazed? So, psychics is a really good tool to have, all right? I use it a lot in my healing. When somebody presents for healing, I'm already there in the energy and go, because quite often in healing, you will find like a bad back can actually be caused by an emotional issue. Because of all our energetic bodies, so we have this, the physical body. In fact, I think I've got two physical bodies now, but never mind. Yeah, everyone's pulling their shirt now. What me? You're going to have to breathe sooner or later. So we have our physical body, but then we have our emotional body. How many people have been talking to a friend or something? Hi, darling. Anyway, talking to a friend and gone, how are you? And they've gone, fine. And you've gone, that's not right. Yeah. You all right, sweetie?
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, that's all right. Nice to see you. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that feeling comes from? Have another biscuit, sir.
Coffee.
You sense it.
Exactly.
You stand there and think, no, there's a feeling. There's something wrong.
Intuition, yeah. Intuition is a very commonly used word to talk about our psychic intuitions, the understanding of that. And like anything, whether it be your evidential mediumship in spiritualism, or your psychic abilities, it can only improve if you continue to work at it intelligently. If you continue to evolve what you're getting. So again, going back to my lovely friend there, thank you, the initial thing with the back pain there, but also going back in time, I'm finding a little bit of difficulty in trusting people, which stems back to earlier years and stems back to something actually quite shocked me in younger years. Something you know, we have a shock and it's like, ooh, that, but then we have the shock, which
Yes.
goes right the way through us. Yeah. So again, you know, by applying what you're doing and applying yourself what you're doing, you can go deeper into the evidence with people, and it can be really helpful. It can be a real catalyst for people
How did you know that?
because it's just there in your energy.
Are you reading my energy, or you
Yeah.
just, you are?
Yeah. Don't worry, I can't see your bank account.
Oh, just in the
I think it ends in
register
67.
around here. Is it my grandmother behind me?
No, no, because that would then be mediumship.
Ah, yeah,
Because I would then be
Yeah.
getting that information from the third party.
good.
Yeah?
Get it.
But just through, because I'm spirit, you're spirit, we're all spirit.
Yeah.
All right? We all emanate. The aura is a scientific fact. There has been countless scientific studies photographing people's energy fields, which we call the aura. And the aura is multi-layered, as I say, and you can start to work through the aura and pick up on the emotional sides, the mental sides, the physical sides, the spiritual sides. And it can be a real good catalyst. If anybody's ever going into being, not a chaperone, that's the wrong word, I'm having a moment here. Counsellor, there we go, I knew it began with a C. Counselling, it can be a magic tool in counselling to, you know, be able to start to pick up and work out and go, because we have the conversation and people can be talking to you, but as you're working psychically with them, you're hearing a totally different story. And if you can sort of like direct, you experience this, don't you? Yeah. If you can direct the conversation to going back to those years and anything there, because we carry a lot of stuff with us, don't we? You know, if we could see ourselves energetically now, we'd all, including me and the cat, we would all have loads of shopping bags full of that we're carrying around with us, that we've never let go. How many people know anybody that if you mention a certain person to them, it's sort of like the blue touch paper and run away? And invariably it would be things like, 20 years ago, do you know what she said to me? And you're like, 20 years ago? Really? Why are you still carrying that? And why are you back in that energy the minute that's mentioned? That's not good for us. That isn't good for us. As mediums, Tony, how many times do we have contact saying, I'm sorry I didn't. I wish I had.
Yeah, quite a few times.
Yeah, because we carry this stuff around with us. So not only can that energy we carry around with us affect today's life, like with I don't blame you, love, I've got to the point now I look both ways when I'm crossing a one-way street, seriously. We can start to understand, because the biggest thing that helps us is understanding something. If we understand why we react, I don't like that person, every time they're near me my hackles go up. So we sit there and then we sort of like demonise that person because it's their fault. Well, actually, our reaction is our responsibility, is number one. And number two, if you could approach it with that open-mindedness of going, what is it about them that riles me? What is it about them that makes me feel like this? What is it about them that every time they're near that I get tense? And when we start to understand the whys, actually we can then deal with it. Because a lot of the time there's a little bit of shadow work going on. Are we familiar with the term shadow work? No? So, your lovely lady, all right? If I were to ask you to describe your lovely lady, you would give all the, yeah, she does this, great, you're a good baker.
Once upon a time, shall we say.
Cakes, flash cakes. I've got cakes which are
That's in
bit
the
smart.
family, for definite.
right, okay, but that's in your energy as well. So you're going to go to all the positive points, yeah? And none of us have not got negative points. Even me, I know, shock. But don't laugh. Kill. Sick. You should have got a dog. We've all got traits in our character that we're uncomfortable with. We've all got traits in our character that we just think, here we go again, oops. I had a wonderful partner, absolutely great, couldn't fault the person, until they got behind the wheel of a car. And then it was like, oh my God, I've got Cerberus driving this car. It's three-headed. Oh my God. When we recognise those things in us, that's what we call the shadow work. All right? Because, you know, we can dance around and go, yes, I'm wonderful, yes, I'm perfect. But yeah, we've all got areas where if we find that within us, to go and visit and again try and understand that. Why are we intolerant to whatever? Why are we suspicious of whatever? And just try and really understand that. That's called shadow work. That's trying to go, yeah, all right, everything, you know, life is good, life is to be enjoyed, but yeah, and to enjoy it in its fullest, maybe it's time to look at the things which are just sitting in my energy, just holding me back a wee bit. So a good psychic can work with you on those levels and just try and bring it to. I've had psychic readings and things have been said and I've gone, no, and inside I'm going, how do they know? How do they know that? Nobody knows that. I'm going to have to kill you now. So yeah, the shadow side of things. But getting back to the cards. Now, how can I do this? Nikki. Yeah. If I were to ask you to recite the poem of the Ancient Mariner, no, because it's not there, all right? But if I were to give you a copy of the poem of the Ancient Marrow? Yeah.
Ancient marrow.
Yes, it's related to the giant cucumber. No. The Ancient Mariner, and you looked at it, read it in your mind, paced it out, you got that familiarity, you put your energy into it. If I were to ask you then to recite it, you could do it and do it very competently, capably, and audibly. So it's putting yourself into it, it's putting your intent into it. And it does work the same with cards. Now, I'm going to ask you, my darling, to come up and just say to us how you work with cards.
Intuitively, but I have spent the last, I'd say, 3 years studying them. So reading books, watching videos, doing them with other people.
Good.
My goddaughter is a psychic medium, very, very good one. She doesn't live here, she lives in London. She does spiritual platform work.
Yeah.
And what you were saying earlier, if I'm linked into her on the phone, I can see her whole life.
Yeah.
I can't see it with others. Like I can, with her, I know like she got into this scrape. She went to sort something out with a flat, and she said, Lottie, it's all terrible, blah blah. And I said, it's because she doesn't like women. So
Yeah,
what I want
yeah.
you to do is to go and get your boyfriend and get him to come now and deal with it. And she said as soon as he came in, her attitude changed.
Yeah.
And she came down and went, oh yeah, let's just sort this out. And she said, Lottie, you were so right. She doesn't like women.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to her, I can get it just about everything. She's astounded. Likewise, I'm astounded with what she picks up on me. But I couldn't get that with you, say.
Right, number one, you've broken my cardinal rule. I always, if anybody says to me, I can't do something, I go, you're quite right, you can't. Because you're telling yourself you can't. And it's as simple as that. So, I'm going to challenge you. Mwahaha.
Oh no.
Oh yes!
Oh no.
Oh yeah!
Oh Lord.
Trust! Now, cards in their many forms are a really good focus for people. Now, we've all heard of tarot, yeah? Tarot obviously has its very rigid guidelines. The Four of Cups is this, the Seven of Swords is that, and things like that. So, with the tarot, people tend to really memorise what the card means, but you can end up with quite a dry, sterile reading because they're just repeating verbatim what that card means. A good psychic will be able to interpret those cards. Now, I use these ones quite a lot, the Ascended Masters, and it is not because the cards are telling me a story, because I will pick out one card. All right, no, you do it for me. You do it for me. So I'm going to give you one card at random. You're going to look at that, all right? And I know you can't see it. It's all right. Wait, patience, grief. Yeah, this card. So just look into that and relax, and you're giving me a reading. So what that card is talking to you. Don't forget colours. Maybe the word, it may be the drawing, maybe anything like that.
I can't remember the card, but it reminds me of the one with the B and the J in tarot. There's a card with a B and a J.
Was there?
Yeah, there is.
Is that the adult version of tarot?
No, it's it's a very calming card, obviously, Yoda. It's got beautiful colours, so very soft, lilacs, yellows, very peaceful, very peaceful and calm. That's what it's
I can be that. I can be the opposite of that as well at times.
Well, by the look of it.
Sorry?
Seeking wisdom, always looking up for
Yeah?
learning.
Yep. See? You just said I can't read for other people. And already you've got a basis there. Because everything we get is the start of a story. Everything. And this applies... Thank you.
It's nice that.
This applies to our mediumship as well. You know, how often do you see a medium saying, oh, well, they're showing me a cat and they're showing me a fern. Oh, I'm also seeing this picture on the wall. We're missing the point. You know, they're showing me this cat. Oh, my God, the cat was the love of your life, came at a really bad time, just came into your life at such a good time, been a really good companion. And as I'm looking at the fern there, I'm just unfolding here a huge, great love of nature, but I also want to be in the land where these ferns would grow. So I've got memory links going out. I want to say Syria and place. So everything you're being shown has got this wonderful story behind it. And psychics can do that. So, here we go. Put yourself out on the limb. Pick a card, madam. Any card.
No, that one wants
Thank you. Right. Now, I do know this lady, but not to any great depths. Work Your Magic, Saint Germain. So I'm instantly drawn to that you create, Catherine. You create everything in your world. You see opportunity, yeah, and you grasp opportunity. And I know working with Saint Germain there, he's the master of symbolism and geometry. So you like a very nice order in your life. If I were to go in your kitchen, everything would be, I'm seeing like spices all neatly lined up in a row.
Not quite that far, but yeah, I definitely am organised.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the, and this, so all I'm doing is, that card has triggered that psychic side to be able to start giving a reading for the sitter. And again, the more you go into things, so where you said you've been researching and reading, absolutely brilliant. Well done you, all right? We have a phrase in spiritualism, the 90-minute spiritualist. And that's a person who'll go into church, walk through the door and go, "Hi everybody, how are you? Blessings." And walk out the door and go, "Right, you bunch of so-and-sos, who's first? Come on, bring it on." It's not the idea. Seriously, that's not the idea. But the same with our psychic abilities. If we apply ourselves to them, they can be very, very beneficial. They can be very useful tool. I've found since 2020 that people coming for private sittings now are not so much looking for the evidential sittings. So they're not looking for communication from ones that have passed. They're actually looking for things in the sitting about them now, here, in this world. Yeah, you're finding that. Yeah. And trust me, this is not fortune telling.
Feel more like a gangster.
Yeah, yeah. I always say to people, listen, if there's a 6-foot-tall, dark, handsome stranger who's a millionaire, he's mine, all right? Because I've waited longer than you. So you should just get in the queue, love. I don't get many sittings, I don't know why. But yeah, people are much more interested in themselves. Now, I do have a little reservation about some of the wordage we're seeing used in advertising. And when I see come and have guidance, I do, I'm not comfortable with advertising you're doing guidance. Because unless I know that person is above reproach, that person has really done their work on things. They've really gone out of their way to keep evolving and progressing their gift. And they are of a good moral character. I know that's very old-fashioned, but you need that. So where, you know, I always say, when you talk about guidance, there's a very thin line between my opinion and what I'm reading in you. So a guidance, I'm just sort of like, you've got to be very wary how you use that and how you respond to it as well when you see the advertising. Because it'd be really easy, all right, Pauline, obviously I know you really well, you know, so if I'm going to give you guidance, oh yeah, you know, I want you to look after yourself a bit more, you know, not give yourself to everybody else all the time, and, you know, I just want you to sort of like smarten yourself up more and take your, you know, take more pride in your appearance and maybe get out and have a bit more fun. That's just my opinion. And by cold reading Pauline, not using what I know of Pauline, but just cold reading somebody in front. And stuff, although that has a feel-good factor for the sitter, it's not of value. And in fact, it can not only be not of value, it can actually be a little bit detrimental.
But is your role not really then to guide the person to find their own path rather than telling them where you think they should be?
Ex-
You know, rather than telling them that
Yeah.
you should be going out there, you're guiding them to find that answer for themselves by the information that you provide them.
Yeah, spot on. And this is what we were demonstrating with the psychic reading. You know, in a private consultations thing, we could go back and look at that time in your life and think, and not say, well, you've got to get over it. That's the worst thing you can say to anybody. You know, if anybody says to me, I've got to do something, I'm hearing, whatever you do, you mustn't do that. But you can use that in the sitting to just go back over that, because quite often it's by having a really good psychic sitting with cards or whatever to trigger that we can start to go into the person's character, their nature, their very being, and just draw attention to certain areas. And again, what I said, removing the fear by replacing it with knowledge will empower that person to go, do you know what, it's time I got a little bit more trusting of people. Yeah, that was 38 years ago. Why is it still sitting here with me? It's only me holding on. So it enables that to start moving again. So yeah, quite right. Could I grab a coffee, please? Thank you. Black no sugar. Drop of brandy, stirred anti-clockwise.
I do get asked if I'm pulling the cards.
Yeah.
I always ask first of all to spirit, can I do them now? Is it okay if I do them now? And I use my pendulum.
Mm.
And sometimes they do say no, and then I won't do it. I'll
Yeah.
say no, I'm not doing it then. And then I'll ask, and then I'll say yes, you can. So I'll say thank you, spirit. And if I see a no, or I get an absolute no through the cards or through my pendulum, I will tell the person no. And they ask me directly sometimes, you know, I'm just trying to think of one the other day. I know, yeah, this lady I was speaking to, she's just, the people I know, they're not any, I don't
Yeah,
talk to it,
yeah.
they're just my own
That's
little
all right.
world. And she said, do you think
Brilliant. Nothing.
it'll be this
Thank you.
fella or this fella? And I sort of said, and I was, in my mind, I thought, I'm not sure. So anyway, I did the cards and the pendulum, and I said, it won't be him. She went, really? And I went, no. Because if I see no, that's, I'm not going to say, I'm going to say that's what I'm reading. And
Yeah.
of course I say to her, things can change. It can change if we read tomorrow. But where I'm reading it today, this is what I'm seeing now,
Yeah.
at this moment.
Yeah, and yeses and nos are very final.
Yeah.
A situation like that, I would be going, well, actually, I'm seeing this one in a brighter light.
I was kind of doing that.
Yeah.
There's more hope with the other one
Yeah,
than this one.
I'm
Yeah.
just seeing a brighter
Yeah.
light. And again, because we've got to empower our sitters to make their own decisions.
Well, he was going. She said to me, he said he's going to invest in me and do blah blah blah. Will he? So I looked and I said, not that I can see.
Yeah. But then, you know, when you have questions like that being asked in the sitter, you've got to, well, you haven't got to, it's entirely up to you, but what I would do is dig further down into the energy. So rather than that direct question, which is basically saying, is he lying to me or not? So is this
Yeah.
person honest?
Yeah.
You know, is this person honest? And if you're picking up and going, do you know what, this person is just so honest, it's unreal, would then support what was said.
You could put the ball back in their court and say, how much do you trust them?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You,
I got the feeling she didn't.
yeah. And where did that feeling? But again, you know, it's through the wordage we use and practice. You just said that was quite a bold statement. You got the feeling she didn't trust. So you could use that into the reading and just saying, well, you know, would you trust this man with your life? And get that person. Because we've got a habit, and it's really getting more prevalent now, and it's quite noticeable. We're really eager to give away our power nowadays. We're really eager to put our lot in somebody else or something else or whatever.
It's abdication of responsibility, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, because, you know, if I follow this, and we're seeing, unfortunately now, this big rise in these many different philosophies online concerning extraterrestrials, vibrations, dimensions, and things like that. And people are really investing an awful lot of themselves into it, but without actually looking into it. You know, as I said, I love my spiritualism because everything we do is evidential. There is evidence in everything. Healing mediumship. You know, people come back and say, do you know what, since you gave me healing, my shoulder is so much easier. There's your evidence. Good philosophy, when we have our demonstrators on the Sunday, and in that address, and there's something said, and you went, oh God, yeah, I really resonate with that. That's really right. That is a nice way of looking at things. That's a better way of looking at things. Everything we do is evidential. I do get a little bit concerned with some of these theories out there that it's based more on the old orthodoxy values of if you trust me, you will be saved. When you strip away all the language, when you strip away all the pretty pictures and whatever, that is the basic tenet of it, is if you believe this, you will be saved. And people, and especially in today's world, we're all scared. Who's not scared at the moment of the world? Yeah. We've got so much fear, so much to be concerned about, so much worry. So if you get somebody charismatic and offering this, and it is a form of escapism.
I also think it's hope as well.
We need hope, but then I'd rather instill the hope in you as an individual. I always say, you know, if we're looking for somebody to blame or somebody to save us, go and look in the mirror. Because that's the person. That is the person. We can have help from other people, but until we start getting back into our own power and our own standing, and again, psychic tools can really, really help with that. They really can. A good psychic is worth their weight in gold. Absolutely. So you do some reading of cards. Anybody else do reading of cards? Fabulous. Nikki! Nikki. Yes, you are. You love it. You absolutely love it. So I'm going to give you...
I'm glad it's you.
So, this lovely lady with that beautiful colour hair. I do love that colour hair. Pick a card, any card. There's a joke here, isn't there?
Decisions.
Okay, wonderful.
Oh my goodness me.
So, Nikki, please.
There's a certain warmth within you, and you've had this for quite a while, whatever you're picking up on, like this sixth sense and things. But also it's, you can't keep bolting forward, you have to keep stepping back. And there's people that have been around you that are really no good for you. But being part of what you are is coming back to where you want to go. And a lot of things have happened in the past that you really ought to just put in the case and leave. And then with the people around you, you have to be patient with them, because sometimes you're knocking at the door before it can be opened. That's what you've really got to stop. And you've got to stop pushing yourself as well, because the more you push, the more you're going to end up going backwards. And also, I feel that there's supposed to be a lot more learning around you as well, picking up a book. I know you probably won't be sat down heading a book 24/7, but if you pick a book up every so often, it'll be easier for you to learn. But you've got to stop bolting forward, because it's not going to do you
So, Nikki, where was that information coming from?
From, did you touch the card?
Yeah.
It was that feeling of you put it into words. You know,
Yeah.
it's just that second like that put you on that card. It's what I could pick up from there. You'll be okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
And how did that resonate with you on levels?
Complete.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
No worries.
And I don't know what your involvement is within spiritualism. Say you just had a communication from your mother in spirit. No? Grandmother. We'll keep going back through the line until we get one. Great grandmother. For me. If you go back to your last message that you had from a medium, and what that meant to you, what the psychic message you just had, which is more applicable to your life today.
What the lady just said to me.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm not demeaning the communication, because again, mediums, if they excel at their craft, they can bring that information through from our loved ones in spirit. But for a good psychic reading, it gives you things to take away and think about. I bet you bottom dollar now, the next time you find yourself rattling the door, you will remember this and you'll go, all right, maybe it's not time, that's fine.
It's funny because the lady saw the card that I picked with the word patience. Yeah. It's a word that just went straight through my mind when you were saying about things, and I just thought patience is something I need to work on.
The old man's cheery. He's going, yes! I told you!
But it's not just one area, it's
Yeah,
so many different areas. you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
And it's a
Yeah.
word that just came into my mind, you know.
yeah. When we
Lots
apply patience to things, you know, sort of standing in the queue at the post office starting to get irate, or allowing people around you who are tutting and huffing. Just, bit of patience, that's right, fine, let it go. Trying to get something done in our lives, come on, I want it done. Well, do you know what? It may not be the right time. And as much as we want to see that happen, for whatever reason, it's not the right time. We see this mostly in the development of mediumship. That people will join a circle, group or whatever, because I want to be a medium and I want to be a medium as soon as I can. But it may not be your time. This may be you just starting to pull the threads together for later on in life. You may not be a platform medium, but you may use your mediumship just to sit and be aware of the spirit world around you. I mean, that's brilliant. I think that's a great use of mediumship. You know, we get on the platform and we're looking for validation. Your mother, no, grandmother, no, all right, great-great-great-grandmother, yeah. We're looking for that validation of what we're saying is correct. But when you apply your mediumship to just sitting there and going, do you know what? I know you're there. Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. That's all you need. That really is all you need. It can bring so much. But getting back to the topic of tonight. Now, you said something interesting there about asking spirit. That's absolutely fine. This is sometimes can be a little bit of a grey area with certain readings. I'll use this from a mediumship, from the spiritualism point of view, Tony, I've got your mother here. She loves you very much and she's very proud of you. Yeah, where's the evidence in that? The job of the medium is to provide evidence. And we often hear things like that being said. And then you see people going into the psychic thing. So it's similar with you. When I started off the conversation with you, I'd just say, oh, there's a gentleman in spirit and he's telling me that you've got lower back pain and things like that. That's not evidential. Because
Within
Go on.
this last week, I read The Ancient Mariner, because I did it at O-level. Do with
I knew
Taylor
that.
Swift using it in our lyrics, so I thought I'm going to read The Ancient Mariner. So I read that this week, it's enormous. So when you said it, I thought, wow, that's really weird, because it's the first time I've got that out since I was 16, whenever I did my O-levels. So for me to get that out within this last, say, 5 days, I would say, of pulling up that poem and reading
Yeah.
it, and then you bringing that as an example. And also what you said, similar to your patience, the word that you saw, I went to see Tony Stockwell, who I adore, 2 years ago now, and it was a big auditorium with him.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I heard in my head the Cray twins. And I thought, oh, I don't know why I've heard the Cray twins, but, you know. And then he said, 2 men have come in here and they're reminiscent of the Cray twins. And I sat there and I thought, I know that's my granddad and his brother. I didn't say anything because I thought it might not be me, and there was loads of people and I didn't want to look like an idiot. Anyway, he went into it, he had a whole garden full of, he turned it into an allotment. There was no plants in there, it was just an allotment, which he did. He had chickens, yes he did. There's a link, and when he came to me, I said, I think that's me, and he said, do you know these two? And I said, yes. And then he said, and between the 3 of you, there's a link to Australia. And I said, there is, because he's now moved to Australia, and my granddad and me went to visit him in Australia. So mind blown.
yeah, you see, in that instance, that is spirit-led. So he's receiving that information. Really interesting, The Ancient Mariner.
I mean, that's really, and you said it, and I was like, oh, I've just read that this week.
Yeah. But then earlier on, I'm having a rummage in your energies. Horrible, doesn't it? No, I've got to describe that differently. That sounds really bad.
You can make it sound any better.
Earlier on, I'm in your energies. So I'm picking up other stuff, but not consciously. So yeah, out of every book ever written, I picked the one that you read last week.
Yeah.
We can say coincidence. Yeah, that's fine, that's nice, it's a coincidence. Yeah, that's all nice and comfortable. I don't believe it is. I had incidents at, while I was away teaching recently. And somebody said, how do you manage the sensitive things? And that's something we need to learn to manage, right? And especially if we're working in a public auditorium. So whether we're working as a psychic, I wish people would be a little bit more honest. I've seen brilliant psychics under the banner of medium, and I'm going, you're not medium, and it's not a, spiritual snobbery. Just be honest about what you're doing. You're a really good psychic. And if you just say, I'm putting on a psychic right? I've seen psychics pull out people's PIN numbers. And I just think, wow, because everything about you is there to be read. And to the skilled reader, you can pick that stuff out. But the openness of it, as I say, I was with the group and we were just getting to know each other. And they asked this question. And we got 16 people, and I went to one lady, I went, your son died of a drugs overdose. And I said, you would never say that in a public auditorium. I said, if you ever said that on my platform, you would be out of the door so quick, you wouldn't know what happened. Seriously. I said, so you would up, say, I've got your son here, his lifestyle choices actually colluded to why he is now in the spirit world. So you're giving, the sitter understands that, all right, the mum understands that. We went down for dinner. Somebody said to me, "Oh, you're really brave." And I said, "Why? Are Dutch people bad or something? Why should I go home now?" And I said, "No, he's saying to that lady about her son." I said, "I was doing an example." And they went, "No, her son died of a drugs overdose." Oh, you are kidding me. I just felt awful. I went and spoke to the lady and I went, I can't apologise enough. I had no idea. She went, "Actually, the way you put it, I needed to hear that." She said, because everybody has been saying it was an accident, and it wasn't an accident because he was on that path and he knew his life would invite that in. But I just thought, isn't that amazing? Out of all those people, and to come out with that one specific to the one person that's actually endured that, I'm just like, that's no coincidence. I believe that was very much on the psychic level because I was not aware of any outside influence. It was just very much there, but it could, and I never gave it a thought.
Can I just say about the suicide thing? From my memory of going to church when I was little, like Christian church,
Mm-hmm.
and I know I've got friends that are Catholics, a lot of fear, as you said earlier, and especially around suicide, I think. I mean, in this case it was a drugs overdose, but in suicide, because a lot of people, especially I found my Catholic friends, find that they believe if you commit suicide, you will go to hell and burn. And I always say you won't, because God is there for all of us, and He's never going to leave you in your time of need. He's never going to just kick you to the curb because you have got to such a desperate situation. Why would He just then throw you on the pyre as well while He's at it?
Yeah.
But they're entrenched in them, that they're petrified of it.
This is, I'm not attacking orthodoxy. Orthodox religion has a very strong place. It can bring a lot of comfort. It can bring relief. You look at the Christian and Islamic foundations that go out and feed people in emergencies and disaster relief and things like that. So religion, like anything, has the ability to do a lot of good. Religion, in the main, and this is a very broad sort, over the years has always been used as an element of control of the population, an element of education. You go into the Jewish religion, where we talk about not eating pork, not eating dairy products in daylight hours, bury your dead within 24 hours.
It's become very man-made as opposed to spiritual.
Exactly, yeah. But if you look at those laws in the Jewish religion, you know, you're in a hot country at a time they didn't have microbes, bacteria, fungi and things like that, but they did notice if you left a glass of milk out for Granny and you had it at 3 in the afternoon, by 4 o'clock it was dead. Same with pork. You know, if you leave a pork chop on the side and eat it a couple of days later, you're going to be all dead. But to get the education out there, because we didn't have the educational system, it was into the religion. Because they knew these things had a risk. They didn't understand what the risk was. Maybe the interpretation would be a divine source, has brought that risk in. It was still brought in on that educational basis. And the same with Christianity. As Christianity expanded across the globe, so did they encompass cultures. The pagan celebration of midwinter on the 21st of December. Well, suddenly, we had Christmas Day on the 25th of December. Oh, well, that was handy, wasn't it? Within 4 days.
It's quite nice.
Yeah. So we have that familiarity. The same in spiritualism. When spiritualism first exploded in the UK, it was brought over a lot from America, because actually the real home of spiritualism in the UK is up in the Midlands. because there had so many people coming in on the liners into places like Liverpool and settling. The Midlands was like the breeding ground of spiritualism. Then London caught the attention of it, and so it firmly entrenched there. And it was the things in those days that were practiced, and a lot of them again were psychic gifts. A lot of them were psychic gifts, but a lot of them were spiritual gifts. But we look at things like the physical mediumship that used to go on at the time. If you look at the society, education was only in the top 8% of people in the country. The other 92% couldn't afford education. So spiritualism presented itself very visually. So we would see apples. Anybody know what an apple is or not? No? So an apple would be, and I've witnessed it once, when you sit in circles, maybe in a physical circle or maybe just a really good circle. What's her name? Big lady, husband, Dougie, Marjorie Fry circle. At the end of the circle, the trance speaker said, everyone has a gift from spirit. And when the lights went on, each of us had a little blue forget-me-not on our lap. Every one of us. So an apple is when something is materialised. But again, we need the experience of it, because to say these things, people are sat there, that can't be true. But it is. But we need to experience it. There was talk in the war that there was news of a village somewhere in France that had been surrounded by the Germans, under siege, and they were starving. And a circle, I believe in Kent, gathered a load of food in their circle with the sole intent of willing that food. The food disappeared from the circle. Years later, they had a letter from that village thanking them for the gift of the food. So that's an apple. So think Star Trek. All right, but without the lights and the sound effect. Think Star Trek. So yeah, spiritualism is visual to engage people, to capture. It couldn't be done by the written word. It couldn't be done so much by the demonstrations, because again, society of those to go to a theatre or a hall or an event cost money, and again, it was very limited to a very small section of the society. But it came out very visual, and that led to the splitting of the bodies within our movement. We are Christian Spiritualist Church, so we have the cross. We are more than comfortable talking about Jesus and his works, not, and I will be honest, not as the Son of God, no more than any of us are not the Son of God or daughter of God, but as an extremely, incredibly accomplished medium of the time. Because everything we look at in the Bible, we see within spiritualism. Healing. One of the greatest things with life we understand as spiritual healing. The resurrection, physical mediumship. Sitting around, the voice from the burning bush. Direct voice. Miracles. Yeah, a bit short on them at the moment. But yeah, it's all there. So we're getting back to the religion. Division then came in the turn of the century in spiritualism, because a lot of people were entranced and enthralled by this new thing of spiritualism, but were uncomfortable because of the lack of orthodoxy. They still wanted the trappings, they still wanted the full reverence, they still wanted a full orthodox service. So the Christian spiritualism became established, and then the other side of spiritualism, which at the time was called the Reformists, gave rise to organisations such as today the Spiritualist National Union, where religion is accepted, but all religions, and none is given any credence over the other. So yeah, religions, like anything, you know, it's up to the people who practice it. It really is. Same with mediumship and psychism. It is a faculty. It is something we... I'm not gifted. I wasn't born with a gift, apart from my incredible it is a faculty that learn, you know, and we do tend to hold, you know, when you get a really good psychic or a really good medium, we tend to give them this state of reverence. And I know some really horrible people in this movement, I'm sad to say. Really horrible mediums. And people say, well, how can they be a medium and be like that? Because the mediumship is a fact. It's like learning to drive. You know, not that you should then say, well, why does everybody who drive a car, why are they a horrible person? Because driving a car doesn't make you a nice person, and working as a medium doesn't make you a nice person unless you open yourself up to it. And again, get out of the mould of the 90-minute spiritualism. And yeah, it's challenging. And yeah, I fail quite a lot. The queue at the post office and the woman behind me tutting the other day, that was a big fail. But never mind. Yes, darling.
Can I ask you, I've seen a lot of mediums in my life, and if you go to one, and I'm thinking of one in particular at the moment, I saw it at Charminster, and I have to say it was so bad, and the chap was getting everything wrong, and for everybody, and I have to say I didn't believe a word of what he was saying. And some people were coming out going, isn't he good? And I was thinking, no, he really isn't.
Yeah, no names.
No.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, how do you look upon that? Because I think that annoyed me. Well, it did annoy me actually, because I thought, you've just said all this to these people, and I don't believe a word of it.
We'll go back to, I can give a fluffy reading. Yeah. And depending on where people are in their development and understanding of things, and this applies to the psychic side as well as the mediumistic side, some people can hear, oh, I've got your mother here, she's very proud of you and loves you very much, and go, oh, that's lovely, thank you, that's really good. But if you look at that eyes of spiritualism and mediumship and what we're about, you will then, yeah, that's not good enough. Very much on where people are. I know. They go, wow.
Just an example, but it wasn't here. It was in Leeds. Say somebody at the front, they're saying, I've got they had a piano, and it was, I've got your mother here, right? Lovely. She was great at the piano. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't good at the piano. Oh, it must be your dad then. No, he didn't play piano either. You are then. No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
And it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, you just see me do that with this lady here. Your mother? No. Grandmother. Great mother.
Well, this was really, and he was, it was almost comical, actually.
But sadly, we are seeing, and we've always seen it in the movement, it's not a common, new phenomena. People getting out there, working, and again, it doesn't matter if this is mediumistic or as a psychic, they're going out too soon. Whether they've been pushed out. I'm always very mindful. I run development groups, and I'm always very mindful, number one, of the sitter and where they are, and saying, oh, you know, I can do this now, and you're like, no, you can't, you've just scratched the surface. But what, it can be worse. I know, wow. What can be worse if you have people around you going, oh, you're really good, you should be they're working now, you're ever so good, because their understanding and practice and vision of what a good message and communication is not good enough. And although, yeah, we need to be supportive, but we don't want to turn that from support into delusional. I know it's quite a hard word, but it's true. You know.
I think it can put you against it though, you know what I mean? Because you go there in hope, or, you know, someone with who needs a message might catch tonight. If their opinion is awful, not happened often, has happened a few times to me. I just don't believe a word what they're saying.
Yeah. It can also be very damaging if you get a doctor who continually misdiagnoses you. A dentist who pulls out the wrong tooth.
Yeah.
We see that in all facets of the world.
See, I wouldn't.
A politician who doesn't keep their word.
Yeah.
Let's not
But
go
it
down
could put you
there.
off going back again. That's the thing.
Yeah. But again, the first thing we're taught in circle is to discern the spirit. And again, we've got an added burden at the moment. We've got what I call the electronic mediums, the ones who came out during COVID and went online, and a lot of them, not all of them, are probably an average psychic. You know, and again, this is what I say about we should have this honesty about us. If I'm going to go out and do a night of mediumship, I will do a night of mediumship. If I'm going to go out and do a psychic night, like we're doing tonight, I will say we're doing psychic night. But it doesn't matter what your gift is, it's like anything. And again, utilising other, you're going to have a mediocre doctor, you're going to have a mediocre nurse, you're going to have a mediocre dentist, vet, dog groomer, or you're going to get the ones who really apply and really work to continually unfold. Applying it to mediumship and psychism, sometimes people, once they start getting bookings, they go, hey, I've arrived, that's it, great. Now, I had the best kick up the pants from Spirit about this. I was giving a message and I was saying it, but it was not like I was getting it from a third party. It was more like my own memory. And I thought, this is a bit odd. I don't understand this. So I sat and I went, why are my messages familiar? And they just simply said, because you're not advancing your mediumship. And I went, oh, no. Yeah. I'd got to that level, and that's all I'm going to get. So I stuck there. And you see this people, they just stick at a level, but it's not. It's like, you know, every time you want to be asking for more, different ways of working.
It's like with every job, career.
Yeah.
If you don't go apply yourself and go for continual education, you're not going to get any further.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A message for you as well, that to say to you that you've advanced now, you can recognise when something is real and when it isn't real. So maybe it was a message for you. Yes, maybe they weren't as authentic as they could have been. It wasn't as good as it could have been. But maybe that was somebody talking to you by showing you the difference between the two very clearly. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. You can come again, all the way from Germany. You've not taken a fee, but you can pay your travel expenses. So how much was the flight, love?
Over 200 euros.
Bargain. So, who's up just to give it a go? Just to give it a go.
I would actually.
Good girl. Yeah. So,
I've never done anything like this before.
tell you what, you can read for this gentleman.
Oh, I love myself. Okay, I'm really oh, I'm interested.
There we go. Wonderful. So, how weird. So there you go. So just feel into the card, all right? Don't think, because when we start thinking when we do these things, we then embellish and we turn a fish into a cod, and it's not, it's just a fish.
I'm sorry, I've got fish right now.
You've got fish.
I'm really sorry.
That's all right.
I've got fish. Can you take fish?
I can take.
Okay.
There you go.
Starfish. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Yeah, this is what happens when we
Yeah.
start thinking. We over embellish it, and we lose the essence of it.
I'm getting something with space for some reason.
Outer space, space
Outer
around
space. I'm getting planets and the sun. I don't know why.
me. Bit of astrology.
Could be astrology. It could be physics even.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe something to do with physics or engineering or something in that. Yeah, see, I'm not good at this at all.
No. You're having a go. That's the main thing.
Yeah, no, I'm really not getting anything. I'm so
I
sorry.
would go back to the engineering.
Yeah, you go back to the engineering.
Hmm.
I'm definitely getting physics, engineering, something in that kind of area. Could be. I'm just hunting for anything that's
Yeah. Now we're
related.
thinking.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
so it's not gonna happen.
So what sort of traits do engineers and physicists have? They work to rules.
Very logical minded, very
Okay.
mathematical, very precise in your thinking. The way that you approach problems, you're very, very logical and precise about them, and you'd think twice before doing things. You're not necessarily a
Impulsive.
spontaneous person. You tend to stay and think a little bit more. I still want to say Star Trek. I'm sorry.
I wanted to be Captain's Cook.
Oh, my leg. You said Picard.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
A t-shirt now.
Yeah, don't wear the red shirt. You know what happens to them.
Yeah.
It's right, yeah.
I'm sorry. I tried.
So what could you? Don't make it fit. You know.
No, it's funny because yesterday there was something about fish. We won't go into much into that. I used to work in IT, and now I work with guys with special needs, but not physics. And the only connection with space is that I wanted to get on Star Trek when I was 9.
But Catherine, what's your job?
Mine at the
Yeah.
moment. I teach kindergarten.
Yeah.
Among other things, yeah, sort of mainly kindergarten job, yeah.
So you're around people.
I'm around children a
Yeah,
lot.
that's what, they are people, apparently.
Some of them are, believe me.
But again, you quite often find this people who work in the aura of other people tend to start picking up things. And we're talking things like nail technicians, hairdressers, chiropodists, nurses. Because you are working in the aura of other people, because it's a natural, it's purely natural. It is really, really natural. Who else wants to go?
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Can I just say with the gentleman, I picked up there, have you got a dream or a goal you're aiming for but you think it's out of your reach?
Not as such. But I'm working towards something.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good old rummage in your energies tonight.
It was just when you said the stars and I thought, oh,
Yeah.
you're reaching out.
That's one of my mottos, actually, reach for the stars.
Sorry?
It's one
So
of
you
them.
do have space.
I read? Oh, hello.
Hi.
I've got spirit coming.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this first. I've got a young man with deep blue eyes connected to you, and then I'm going to put him to one side because he just
What,
picked.
in spirit?
Yeah.
Well, he always comes through.
Oh, thank you.
Not a very good host. Send him away. He's always pestering
Here
me.
again. When I saw the card and the eyes, it was the young man with the deep blue eyes.
I don't know why he hangs around
And he's
me.
here.
I can't help him.
He might be helping you, love.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're probably right there.
I've got you putting you're reaching out for something. You're looking for education or something. Reaching out to take yourself the next step. But I've got new challenges I can see around you that you're reaching for.
Maybe.
Because, but also, it's got the star system there. But I feel it's more things that are a bit hectic around you at the moment, and
That's
you're
right.
reaching out to get some order.
Yes. But you're right.
Yeah,
Perfect, spot on.
trying to get the order. But as you get one thing organised, something else almost like tips itself upside down. You're
Exactly
thinking, where
what's
do I go
happened
from
today.
here? Yeah, but I also got the pound signs, just to be aware of pound signs, money, and keeping that organised as well. Yeah. But it's just, yeah, there. But also, you need healing.
I do.
Yeah, yeah. Nice blue purple colour.
Very good. And before I go on to the next part of this, I do just want to point out we picked 4 cards tonight, and every bloody time we've picked out the same card.
How very organised.
I know, yes. Every time I'm just like, really?
I did look at it because we've had this one.
Yeah. But that's interesting as well, Tony, because you're just bringing the final part in nicely there, so thank you. When we talk about spirit coming in to this, now this is sometimes the area, as I say, that can be a little bit portrayed not so well. When we start opening up and working with our psychic side, it is natural that the spirit world will also start to draw close. So you need to start developing. If you're going to go down the psychic route, great, absolutely brilliant. But like everything that we learn, it will comes with a bit of a price. So you need to be aware that the spirit world will start stepping in. But as you expand your psychic work, you will then need to expand your mediumship and the understanding of it. And this is what happens, you know, what you just said, oh, spirit is stepping in, and you do see this sometimes in a very badly handled reading. Oh yeah, spirit are really close. Oh yeah, they're really crowding around me. There's so many here. Well, if somebody told me that, I'd be a little bit worried, because normally when they all come round you and crowd round us, they're getting ready to welcome you home. It's sort of like, no thank you, not quite ready yet. Yeah, I've got some chicken in the oven. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, that's your next step on. If you do find that as your awareness, because you're opening up your awareness, and to learn mediumship, we open up our awareness. To open up our psychism, we open up our awareness. So you will find that spirit will start to impinge upon you, which is absolutely great. absolutely brilliant, but then you do need to apply yourself to learn the mediumship part of it. Because again, like anything, a little knowledge, you know, oh, I read 2 posts on Facebook, so now I'm an authority on what's going on in the world. No, you're not. No, you are not, seriously. So the psychic side as well, the wonderful thing is the more we work with that, it does strengthen or open opportunities to work with the spirit world. Working with the spirit world is not solely focused on being the evidential medium, standing on a platform saying, I've got your mother here. All right, there is all forms of mediumship. Mediumship is just the interface in between our world and the spirit world. So you can use that mediumship, you can use that connection. You think the spirit world is highly intelligent, highly organised, and consists of everybody that has ever lived. What a resource. When I work with animal healing, I ask for a vet to step in, because vets understand animals. So they're going to aid and abet me in my healing work with animals. Philosophy, we look for the inspiration. We hear something. The Ancient Mariner. I'm going to have to go and read that now. We look for that philosophy, you know, that inspiration. The spirit world is like the biggest hard drive ever. All right, there is every piece of information there to be found, but it is up to us to apply us. You know, when people say, "Oh, spirit, tell me," what spirit? So tell me what spirit, and I'm not being facetious or overtly challenging. If you're saying spirit are telling me, what spirit? I don't walk down the road and said, oh, some bloke down the road told me I've got to do this. Who was he? I don't know. So why are you doing it? And it's exactly the same with the spirit world. But in and through your psychic side, you said the phrase there, psychic medium, which is a much more common phrase nowadays. Lots of schools of thoughts on that. We're not going down that rabbit hole. But again, I just bring it down to, if you're going to work psychically, say you're going to work psychically. If you're going to work as a medium, say you're going to work as a medium. If you're going to mix the two, say that. We have a medium down from London. She's really good at saying, halfway through the she said, hold on, I was just switching to the psychic side here. So-and-so and so-and-so about you. That's fine. That is fine. That is absolutely fine, because you are being honest and true and above reproach. But when you get psychics saying, I'm a medium, and they're just giving us, they are giving a psychic reading, I just think, why do you do that? Just be, you know, if you're going to be a psychic, be a psychic. Be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with it. All paths lead to somewhere else. So.
Can I just ask her, do you have to close down though?
No.
If you're open to spirit.
No, I just look at it.
So, yeah,
It's not the old-fashioned, is it, open up and close down. You still live your life. I mean, there's times, yeah, but there's times like here when you're with the people here that you're not with your family 24 hours a day. So you're not with spirit 24 hours a day. It's the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
You just get on with things, and you know, that sounds awful, but they sort of get put to one side because you're more involved in this life than that life. So.
Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Going back to like sort of the old-fashioned way, what is the take nowadays on protection? Because I was taught the old-fashioned
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It was always
Yeah, yeah.
protection and open up and close, like you just said. What is the take on that nowadays? Because you just said there could be loads,
Yeah.
ailments and all sorts.
My belief and understanding, and this is today, because this may, you know, probably now I'm going to say that, they're going to drop something on me and go, all right. But my take on that at this time is there, again, I've just referred to the spirit world consists of everybody that ever lived. Yeah? And some of those people we wouldn't want to be associated with. We can induce a bit of fear, whereas if you are, you see, when you're developing your mediumship skills, part of that development is your own self-development, and exactly the same with healers, exactly the same with the philosophers. You've got to develop yourself and inherently understanding, you know, being of the old-fashioned term of good moral standing. Because some of the laws are very true, like attracts like. I know somebody who purports a certain person from history as their guide, and you're just like, really? Somebody who made their money by murder and drug dealing and prostitution, nice guide. You know, I'm not saying they are not there with that person. I'm just saying maybe the roles are just a little bit confused on it. So going back to the protection side of it, I inherently know, and you do come across it, not only the spirit in the physical body with people, but also discarnate spirit, and you go, whoa, no. So I don't work on protection. I don't use that word of protection, but I rely on my own moral compass of yes or no. I do work on things like when I have a shower, so that's Easter, Christmas, and yeah, Lent, yeah. When I have a shower, I visualise any energy that is not of mine, I return to Mother Earth. I just clear that away, because again, we can pick up other people's bad intents and bad thoughts to us, and we can pick that up unconsciously, which can be quite debilitating if you're not on top of it.
I think working with spirit for so long, also you just do it automatically in a way.
Yeah.
And you just put out to be able to work with like-minded energies.
Yeah.
So if you know that you're good at heart, that's who you'll attract.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that is very old. I feel like it's quite an old school thing now.
It is, and we can't be totally dismissive of that, because all these things that went before went for a reason. And again, probably if we start to delve into the history of statements like that, you may be going back to an era where it was ruled by the orthodoxy, so you're either good or evil. As simple as that. You know, you would see all the old dears going down to the church going, oh, don't talk to it, you know, yeah, and everything. So the basis of that thinking, that school of thought, came from those generations. Whereas today, you know, we hopefully tend to judge people not by their words, but by their deeds. And we know inherently. And as we open up our awareness, be it psychically or mediumistically, I've got this thing and it's just happening over the last few months, and it's probably not right, but it's funny. I see the occasional person, and I just have this immediate reaction of no. You know, they've not said anything to me, they've not looked at me or anything like that, but just inherently, I've just gone, no, this isn't going to work. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're not right for me, is a nice way of doing it. Because I always say, like notes on a piano, no one note is wrong, but going with another note, it can be discordant, but with another note, it can make a chord. So, yeah, but no, you're not right for me. Just, eh?
Morecambe and Wise. I love that sketch. Playing all the notes, but maybe not in the right order.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
With that Andre Premi.
Yeah, so I think as, you know, because it's a very potent symbol as well. It used to be like the opening up and closing down. I do follow an opening up process before I work but I'm not have to sit in a quiet room, you know, surrounded by incense and in the lotus position and going, oh, open my chakras, here I go. I put my intent out. I'm working with you today. We know why we're here. And let me be the highest and the best I can be. And that's it. That's my simple intent. I was taught once in a circle closing down, the circle leader said, imagine yourself in a tight sleeping bag and you zip it all the way up and it's got a hood over the top and you zip it right up. I was freaking out with that thought. You're looking at the man who once cut a t-shirt off because he couldn't get it off in time. It got stuck and I was ripping away at it. So yeah, a lot of these things, we need to go back to the time of creation of them and see what the social side, what was the not the economic, but what was the social aspects of it. Because spiritualism is very much of today. It's only our minds that limit it. The potential is untold, but until we remove all the little blocks and trips and stumbles in our minds. I'm just reading a book at the moment about a medium called Hunter Selkirk, who was in the 30s and 40s up in Scotland. And there's an account of a service, and this medium stood up and went, I've got Pat with you, and Pat, your wife, she's brought in Maud, your wife's mother. And he's going, yeah, that's right. And I'm going, wow. Wow. You know, as a medium, names are like a yes. Yes. But in those days, they were taught just this pure simplicity about the mediumship. But they were not allowed to go out before they were ready. They would sit for years and years and years. And out of 100 people sitting, maybe one would make it as a competent platform medium. Our lifestyle, our pace of life today, it's the give me now, I want this now, you know, Amazon tomorrow, oh, can't you get it to me today, I want me Deliveroo, and that comes instant coffee, and that comes into our mediumship, unfortunately, that people want these things, but all those things, they're all available, but they are available to those who will put in the groundwork, put in the dedication, and not just in their mental, you know, because you can't fib to spirit going, yes, I'm being a nice person today because I'm going to be so spiritual and have a lovely service tomorrow. Get out my way, aren't I? It's got to be in your being. So, yeah, good question. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you, because it's been something that has just been on my mind, and you know, I still use it.
Yeah.
When it's not necessarily.
No, it's just, I would say set the intent before, and I always give thanks after.
Yeah.
No matter which way you're working with spirit.
Yeah.
Whether you're sitting in the power or meditation or doing a platform work. You set the intent and then give thanks afterwards. I always do it.
Yeah. But the basis is when we develop either our psychic side, the awareness that comes with that, or our mediumship side, or the combination of the both, it's about our own self-development as well. You know, developing us to be, for want of a better phrase, better people. How we deal with people, how we deal with ourselves. That's always a biggie. You know, because we're always so very keen, you know, how we look at other people. How do we view ourselves? You know, if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else? Well, that's a real bum lesson, that is. Still struggling with that one. But yeah, and it is. But yeah, going back to the protection side, you know yourself. You're a bit of an empath as well, aren't you? You pick up other people's emotions and
Yes.
you
That's exactly where it's coming from, because
Yeah.
I'm like a sponge, and then I'll feel it across here,
yeah.
and then I'm exhausted, and yeah.
Yeah. And so you empaths, you really are a pain in the bum. Seriously, you really, really are. And again, this is your psychic side as well, opening up. Yeah, and it's just realising that, and it's learning what is yours and what is not. And that only comes with practice, I'm afraid. I was going to do a DEM a little while back, and I'm sat on top of the M2, and I suddenly was having a heart attack, and I'm like, oh, I'm not dying on top of a, I know how I'm going, and it's going to be spectacular. It's not on top of a bloody bus. And then I went, this isn't mine. And the second I went, this isn't mine, it stopped. It was the first communicator coming through for the DEM.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Now would be a good time to go, wow. But I recognised, I thought, this isn't mine. And the second I realised it wasn't mine, it had gone. But I was seriously going, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Oh my God, no. But it was because I'm getting ready to work in that energy and with those people. And even then, you know, again, there's something to be had. So the opening line was, I've got a gentleman here who just went with a heart attack, just like that, went out the door, didn't come back. And I said, and I know this gentleman was always very impatient about things. And one went, yeah, that's my husband. I didn't go into the story. Well, thank your husband very much for giving me a heart attack on top of the M2. Score. But again, it's part of the communication. You recognise that. But it's only through experience you have that. And again, with your empath side of it, you will ask yourself, is this me? Or you get very drained as well. You allow people to... The trouble with the psychic side, everybody, if you're a very good psychic, the first lesson you really, really got to learn is it's just a two-way door. If you go rummaging around in somebody else's energies, you've opened a connection and they can do it to you. And I've been aware a few times of being somewhere and somebody is just having a little nose in my energies. And I have this whole vivid imagination of very, very scary images that pop up. And suddenly it stops. And, oh, that's funny, they didn't like the 6-foot spider. Oh, well, that's strange. Never mind.
Oh, wow.
But it's great. You know, as I said, psychic sides are cards, getting back to the topic of the night. Half an hour later. It's like a discussion with Roddy Corbett, isn't it? But this is great. This is what these evenings are on, you know, because, yeah, you're all here. You've all got questions. You've all got things you want to explore. And that's what we're doing, is exploring these things. And hopefully when you're going out, you're going like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. Or, oh, I couldn't go along with that. That's great. You know, if you can't go along with something, I think that's wonderful, because that means you've got your... I can't tell you how to be this, Tony can't tell you how to be this, you can't tell people how to be this, but you can just show techniques and ways, again with your empath side of it, start to recognise what is yours. Yeah, and make that mental link and go, is this me? And you will answer yourself. You go, is this me? No, it's not. Right, well, go. Just go. Be gone. Practice on your old man. Be gone. Yeah, see? Simple as that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you're getting home. I've got the car. So yeah, any more questions before we round off? No? All happy with that?
Yeah.
Interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Engaging? Wow! Yeah, so yeah, psychic side cards, brilliant, explore them. Oh, I'm sorry, am I boring you? Psychic side, you card, crystal balls. Where you know, where did that practice, crystal balls? Again, it was just a focus. It's just something to focus the we've got two minds. We've got our monkey mind, which is the thing that does everything all the day and thinks through logical stuff and formulates and plans and gets the next word out to our mouth. But we've got our higher mind as well. So if we can occupy the physical mind, and a lot of these things are tools to occupy the physical mind to spur on the higher mind's thoughts. You know, when you saw, I don't know, I can't even think of the name, one of the end of the pier mediums who would sit there gazing into the crystal ball. If they had actually kept telling themselves, I will see the image in the crystal ball, do you know what? They will see the image in the crystal ball, but it's arisen from the psychic side. You know, we have something in spiritualism called thought forms, and they're not talked about too much these days. But if you sit there and meditate every morning, and this was a very common one a few years back, I had a meditation this morning, of course, dramatic pause. Lady Diana was there. Well, do you know what? If you sit there meditating every day and thinking, I want to see Lady Diana, guess what? You're not seeing Lady Diana, you're seeing what we call a thought form. Because we are creative with our energies. And we're also three-dimensional beings, and we want things that we can recognise and understand. So, you know, the depiction of the devil, that came up all over the world, all through different ages, when communication, physical communication, wasn't possible. The horned demon. Every mythology has got a horned demon in there that never was a good guy. I know. But again, that I believe was very much, we have a psychic field around our planet. When we went into the first lockdown, who heard on the news that we're going to run out of toilet rolls? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I just switched the news off.
Yeah. I got my own radio.
Oh, I see. What do you mean? Expand on that statement now. You've intrigued me.
Well, I hear things when it's switched on.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, your psychic thing. You know, suddenly everybody's out. These make me laugh. They cleared the shelves of bread again. Yeah, but there's like 200 bags of flour there and 28 bags of yeast.
All the flour went.
Eh?
All the flour went.
Yeah. But again, it was this psychic field got really activated. That thoughts were just beyond continents, beyond language. And people were just picking up on things. The fear energy, which has done so much damage, and we're seeing the repercussions now with it. You know, when you hear these stories, when you have an auditorium and there's a panic sets in, and suddenly everybody's rushing to get out of the nearest exit. All right, we will have the visual indicators, but the biggest indicator is the feeling. That fear is galvanising everybody because we're picking it up, we're aware of it. So yeah, the psychic side, like anything, if the more you understand it, you then stop being the victim of it and become the master of it. And that's a whole different ball game.
Can everybody sort of zone in on it and use it? Do you
Everybody
think?
can. Everybody has the ability. You know what? A lot of politicians, famous people use. There's a thing called mesmerism. Very old-fashioned thing, not talked about much now. But you watch. Tell you who's master of it. Trump. You watch Trump giving a speech, and he's manipulating the energies. I'm saying this live online. I'm going to disappear tonight. There's going to be black cars pulling up outside in a minute.
It's fake news.
Cat said it. Yeah. But mesmerism, that is a form of psychism. It's this manipulation of the energies.
Is
And
that bad energy?
there's no bad energy. It's only the intent behind it. It's like electricity. Electricity is keeping us warm, lit, able to stream online, keeping the cat happy, or it can be used to fire the missile that's going to wipe out a city. Same thing. There's no difference in that electric. And it's the same with our energies. It's the intent, is what we're using it for. The same with psychism. You can use that to manipulate people. You see expressions of that within, what is that? We're talking about this today. Narcissists are very good. A lot of narcissists are very good with their psychic skills, because they will inherently know when their little web of lies is starting to wear thin, so then we switch to the I'm going to attack you, because I know that my cover is being blown. The only good thing in my experience all the time is when energy is used to not to people's betterment, it does tend to be a lot more short-lived. It does tend to be a lot more short-lived. It's very hard maintaining that level of energy to, the old saying, you can fool all the people all the time, or some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Very true.
I picked up a wand in a fair, you know, like Harry Potter, and I said, can I put a spell on my ex-husband, and not a good one? And she said, well, it might come back to you.
Mm.
So I did it.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a joke, but it also wasn't really, because if I could have got away with it, I would have.
Okay. And that again is where we need to look at our own moral fibre. You know, and that is true. In Wiccan, they talk about things coming back on you 3 by 3. But again, if you look at that through another lens, what I'm saying about your moral standing, if you're going to sit there and send out the evils to people, you're creating that energy around you. And what we sow, so shall we reap. You know, if we sit there and our intent is to cause harm and hurt to others, we're inviting that energy in to be part of us. And energy doesn't give a monkeys. Oh, you want somebody hurt? Okay, watch this. As you fall down a flight of stairs. Or your washing machine goes up in smoke, or your house goes up, you know. But then if you use your energies to help because of the kindness and the generosity and the goodness in you, to use really old-fashioned words, that's what you're going to attract. Up to you. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's wonderful.
You're right, Aldo.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.